Everybody, this is Incon, and this video is going to cover Geb and how to play Geb throughout about the first 10 minutes of the game or so. And it's basically going to show you how to get ahead early and really abuse getting ahead early. So I'm going to do what's called the level 3 start. I created this start a while ago. So what you're going to do here is you're going to line yourself up. You're going to level your 1 first, and you're going to roll through the mid harpy. Let your mid and your ADC go ahead and take care of that mid harpy for the rest of it. You'll still get credit because it's killed within the time frame. You're going to go to this back harpy, hog it, and get instantly level 2. Now normally what would happen is you're going to go do your blue buff and rotate around the long way. But they actually started our blue buff very smart, and they take it. I didn't put out any Woojer scheme at the start because people don't usually do that, but that was a very smart play by them. I'm going to roll up here, try to get pressure on the wave. I now realize they have a Hercules Ymir lane. Could that get any lamer? I checked to make sure who has their hog. Hercules does not have hog. It's the Ymir that has the hog. That's important to note. I had to make sure to check that. Now we just have to be careful. They have a Hercules and Ymir, so they have a lot of C potential. I get caught a little bit out here. They're going to put a lot of poke on me. Ymir misses his stun. Pretty crucial mistake. Ymir's going to put himself a little bit out of position, so I'm just going to kind of roll back in and be like, hey, you can't just do that. We get a good bit of damage on him. The minions, archer minions, you know, our best friends doing a lot of damage. Now we just kind of play back. The Anther doesn't have his blue buff, so he's got to be careful about his mana consumption. So we're just kind of chilling right now, waiting back here, waiting for them to make a mistake. The Ymir will do just that. The Ymir is going to blink in, put himself way out of position. Anther has a great stun. I'm going to put my damage on him as well. We're going to get a ton of damage off onto this Ymir. Now Ymir has no choice. He has to back. He's like, damn, that was going to be a really good opportunity. I got to back now. I'm like, I ain't going to let you back. I'm going to roll in towards him. He has to stop backing. He won't be able to back now. He gets a good freeze off on me. Anther tries to kill him with an impale. Doesn't quite get him, so I'll clean him up with a 2. Now that Ymir is going to be super far behind in lane. I'm going to be getting level 4 very soon here, and we're going to have complete lane control dominance. Even though Anther doesn't have blue buff, it won't matter. We're going to have complete lane control because of the level advantage. So right here, this Hercules is trying not to lose any XP, and he's playing up, and he's playing kind of risky. And then he's going to make a crucial mistake right here. He comes up, and he uses his getaway skill, his driving strike, on the wave. This puts him way out of position, so I'm going to slow him for the Anther so the Anther can hit his auto attacks. He's going to put down the pillar to slow him again. Boom, easy kill. So I'm like, oh, let's go to the jungle. I bet they didn't do their blue buff. A wild Ymir appears. Now we're going to start beating on this Ymir again. But he starts to run away, and I don't care about him. He's level 2. He's not going to do anything to me. So I start to take their blue buff. I make sure to check again. It is Ymir that has the hog, and he does have his hog ready and up. So I have to out-hog him here. No problem. Boom, I out-hog him. I hit level 5. This is going to be another easy cleanup kill for us. This Ymir is still going to be level 2 by the time the mid-harpies are spawning. I make sure not to take the kill right here, you know, as a support. Sometimes it's okay to take the kills. Don't tell anybody. But a support with early kills is a good thing, because then you can get early Midas boots. But whatever. Make sure to stay for this wave. I know the mid-harpies are spawning soon, but the Ymir is dead. He'll be level 2. Not a big deal. No, there's not going to be any contention in the mid-harpy anyway. So now I'm going to start walking over towards the mid-harpy. Getting over here. I try to roll out, and I try to hit the mid-harpies as they spawn because I don't have my hog. I want to do the most damage as I can. They don't quite spawn in time. They were a little bit late on the mid-harpy. So we just go ahead and knock these out. I would have hit level 6 from these mid-harpies, but their Agni actually makes a very good play and steals one of them. But then this Agni comes in to kill us. Our Agni aggressively dashes with a Mercury right there. Not the smartest decision. I see that the Agni is going to die, so I make the decision to I have to kill their Agni in order to make this worth it. Because their Agni dash as well, boom, I can get that kill right there. Our Agni was going to die anyway. Even if I would have tried to help him get out, he would have died, and it would have been a waste of time. This is a better XP gold exchange for our team. Because the Agni died, I'm going to sit here and chill, and I'm going to take his mid farm. There's no reason to let this farm go to waste. It's basically free farm. If he wasn't going to get, if he's not going to get it, there's no point to let it go to waste. Also, the left harpies at this point are still up because of the engagement we had on the right lane. So I'm going to go ahead and roll out, make sure I get credit for those archers, roll myself all the way over to the left side harpy. My hog is back up. This Mercury is going to poke his head in and look to, so I'm going to look to get a 2 off on him. But my 2's not quite up in time. Also, wouldn't have quite killed him from that distance, but he's not going to be able to put any pressure over here on the mid harpy. Easy mid harpy. I'm level 7. Their support is level 4. At this point, I've got so much money. I'm going to back and actually buy 10 boots on Geb. Now, most of the time when people are really head on support, what they're going to do is they're going to buy cooldown boots. But on Geb, your base damage is so high on your 2 and your 1 that you can actually buy pen boots. And when you get your full damage off on your 2-1 combo, you're going to almost two-shot assassins on the other team. We'll see this in a little bit. So at this point now, my Anhur doesn't need my help. The Ymir's level 4 still. Like, what's he going to do? I level up my 1 at this point before my 3. The 3, all it does really is it increases the shield by 50, which normally you would want to do in a normal scenario if I went, say, Midas boots and I was planning on doing a regular support build. But in this case, because I'm going kind of more damagey Geb because of how far I am ahead of this team, I'm going to go ahead and level up the 1 first, which is going to give me an extra 75 damage on the rollout each tier. And because of the pen boots, I'm going to get all of that damage done. So now you have to think about yourself. When you're this far ahead on a support, and at about this time in the game, around the 6-minute mark, is when you kind of become a second jungler. So I have a deep ward out for my Anhur, so he's not going to get ganked. And you need to start roaming around like you're a second jungler. You're putting pressure on all the lanes. I can go back to the ADC lane and put pressure over there. I can put pressure on the mid lane. I can rotate all the way over to the solo lane and put pressure there. It just depends on what lane needs help. But I don't have to feel obligated to sit with my Anhur. So I come over here, I make sure to get the wave. That's the biggest thing on support. You have to get waves in between rotating. You have to do it. It's just not an option. A lot of people fall behind on support because they're like, oh, my mid lane needs help. But as a wave is arriving in your ADC lane, you have to hit the wave, then rotate. That way you can get the credit for the wave. You don't actually have to be there at the wave, but you have to have hit it within the last like 7 seconds or so. And then if it dies, you'll still get credit for it. So I rotate all the way over to help out left lane, put pressure on this, then Mercury ultis out because I scared the shit out of him. Let's be honest. He's like, oh man, that's a big old Geb. I'm the same level as their solo laner right now. I'm about to hit level 9, their solo laner's level 9. That's how big I am. That's why I got pen boots. We're going to put a lot of pressure on this lane. The mid Harpies were spawning at the time that I rotated over here, but I knew that the Agni was going to be able to get it by himself, so I didn't feel obligated to go to the mid Harpy with him. I was going to let him have all that XP by himself. It allowed him to get level 10 right now, so he's massive. Sometimes you just, if you know you're going to get the mid Harpies by yourself, you can let your mid have that just so they can get ahead. They're going to do more damage than you most of the time, but not this time because we're Geb, baby. And this is what we do. We do damage with our 2. So at this point, I'm thinking about rotating back to the left side Harpy. That's kind of my current plan. But as I see this, I see the Agni back on the tier. So I'm like, oh shit, I got to get back there and help out tier. So I start rolling in. Tier's going to get completely cut out. They use all of his skills on him. But the Mercury's going to put himself in a bad position. I'm going to pop him up. I'm going to smack him. I'm going to hit him. And I'm going to use my 3 to instantly reset your auto attack. So I pop him, 3, auto attack again. I'm going to get the kill on the Mercury. They're going to use all their skills on me here, and they're going to kill me. And that's okay because my Agni is going to rotate over and be able to get a clean-up kill on their Agni, which is more important. Sometimes you have to sacrifice yourself in order to make a better play. Like my Agni is so far ahead, and this is just going to put him even farther ahead over the middle. Now he's 2 levels ahead of their middle. That's a big deal. So now this is about the time in the game where you have to start worrying about gold furies happening. So I have to make sure I get my tier 3 hog, and I'm also going to make sure I get regular wards and a sentry ward. Sentry wards are the most important thing you can do as a support or as a player in general. At the 10-minute mark, every time you back, you should be orienting yourself to buy a sentry ward. You just have to do it. You get a sentry ward every time you back, and you're placing those sentry wards. Pretty much, you'll have 2 out at a time is about what's going to happen if you get them every back. And you're going to have so much anti-ward coverage. They're not, even if the other enemy is buying so many wards, you just keep countering them, they're going to be wasting so much money on wards that aren't giving them any vision. And that's a big deal. But you also want to make sure you get regular wards to throw them around as a support. But as any other role, only sentry wards after 10 minutes. Only sentry. And support too. They're more important. So now this Hercules is trying to put a bunch of pressure on me. But I'm like, you're level 7 and I'm Geb with pen boots. What are you doing with your life? So I'm going to go ahead and run him out of here. Agni's going to not quite reach him with his skills. At the same time, Ymir's going in on right lane. And so I'm like, oh, they're going to get the Ymir. So I look to make a sneaky play here on the Hercules, but the Hercules, I hear him, he completely backs. So I go to get this Ymir. I make sure to stop the 1 before I hit him, because otherwise it would have knocked him away, and the Ymir could have gotten away. Now that Ymir is dead and the Hercules backed, I make a Gold Fury call. This is going to be a free Gold Fury. We see the mid over now, their mid Agni over by the mid Harpy on left side. So he's not going to be able to get here in time. Our tier's keeping the pressure on middle force, and we're going to have a free Gold Fury, which is huge. As a support, you have to make sure that you're calling these Gold Furies. Because even if somebody else in your team sees a good opportunity to do Gold Fury, they may not call it because they don't know if your tier 3 hog is up. It's your responsibility as a support to call Gold Furies, Fire Giants, etc. You gotta do it. It's just part of the routine. I make sure I come over here and I get the XP from these mid harpies. Tier was doing them. I'm gonna go help him out with the jungle. He'd be able to do them by himself right now, but I'm just gonna speed this up. It's also gonna get me level 11. Their mid is going to start putting pressure on our mid. So I see that they have a ton of people middle. So I started backing and I'm like, wait a second. I don't need to back. Everybody's middle. So I make sure to go get pressure on right lane. This is going to help relieve pressure off of middle. They're going to rotate to stop me. Also, it's going to let me get enough for my tier 2 Sov start and a sentry ward instead of just backing and getting tier 1 Sov. So that's going to be, well, it's not Sov, but you know I'm talking about the breastplate. So I'll go ahead and back and I can get tier 2 Steel Mail, and I can also pick up a sentry ward. That's a big deal. I could have picked up another regular ward right here, but it's not really a big deal. As long as you get that sentry ward out, that's the biggest thing. Got to go back and help this mid lane out. They're getting kind of destroyed right now. We have a pretty good gold lead because of the early kills we had in the ADC lane, as well as the gold fury that we had secured. That's giving us a pretty good advantage. Even though they had first blood, we still have the gold and XP advantage right now. I am still 4 levels above their Ymir. I'm just putting pressure on the mid. I don't really care right now what he's going to do to me. Like, I've got enough health to live pretty much through anything. So now they all collapse on middle. The Ymir blinks over the wall, makes a really good play. I ult to try to get the Agni out of here, but the Ymir ult's going to be too much anyway with everything else. Mercury ults in on me, but I'm like, I'm Geb. I don't care. Dodge that. Boof. Roll out. The Agni's going to go super ham for me, and Tier's going to catch him and be like, nope, that is not your job. And I'm like, whatever. And so that's actually not a bad trade for us, Agni for Agni. Our Agni is ahead anyway, so it's just going to keep their Agni down. Not a big deal. I make sure to grab 2 wards. When I back, I never got a chance to place down my sentry ward because we got right into a fight. Not a big deal. I make sure to grab more wards to help out the team. We can get some deep vision here in just a bit. There's still fights going on mid, so I make sure to rotate right back to the mid lane to get back into the fight. Got to be ready for it. But the fight kind of breaks up by the time I get there. So I roll through and I make sure I'm getting all of this XP from the mid lane. Once again, you can never stop getting wave XP. I put a deep ward down by their red buff, and I see that they're going on a left lane, so I start rotating over to left. I'm like, yo, attack this. We got this. So I throw him a shield. I start putting some pressure on this lane. I would have gotten more damage off right there, but I'm just going to go for a new wall under the tower. I don't even care. I'm Geb. So I pretty much get her down to 0 hit points. I'm like, Ao Kwang's going to finish him off with an ultimate. Ao Kwang actually decides just to sit in the tower and take all the tower damage and not actually to kill him. I'm like, not the smartest decision, but I mean, I guess that's okay. Tier's like, I got this. Don't even worry about it, guys. And I'm like, Tier, what are you doing? You better be careful. You best be careful. And I'm like, I'll clean this up myself. And Mercury's like, oh no, I'm going to run away. I'm really scared. And I'm like, yeah, but Archer minions. Bah. I'm like, but he couldn't do anything. Even if he tried to run away a different way under the tower, I still would have reached him. I was faster. Poke. And then this guy's going to get popped right there by the Hercules. Sucks. I can't do anything about it. I'm trying to make sure my Agni doesn't get caught out. I'm trying to help him. I'm like, oh shit, he gets caught out. Poof. I give him the CC immunity right there. I'm like, oh man, Agni, you know what? Actually, let's turn this. Let's go, Leroy. And so we start turning this right here because of all the damage I can do. They use all of their skills on me, and I'm like, it's no big deal. I'm still a Geb. And so I roll out to safety, and I'm like, I'm super chill. My Agni's still looking for kills, and her pushing right lane. He's going to get the tier 2 tower over and right. And we are huge. I've got top player damage and top kills on a support. At the end of the game, this is how it looked doing this kind of start and that kind of pen boot start build when you're ahead. I had the most damage in the game. I had the most damage taken in the game. I had the most damage mitigated in the game. I had the most kills in the game. I still was tied for most assists on my team, and I had tied for least deaths on my team. That's how you play Geb. You have to go aggressive sometimes. That's the whole point of Geb, is you can go really, really aggressive, guys. If you get ahead early, you get an early kill, you get a level 3 start because you're on the right side of the map, you get a couple things to go right. Don't be afraid to go pen boots instead of Midas boots. Thank you for watching my video, guys. If you enjoyed the content, please feel free to subscribe to me on YouTube. I also stream on Twitch Monday through Friday, and you can follow me there as well. And you can follow me on Twitter for updates and when I'm streaming. Have a twitching day, y'all.